Like a Yotja in the trees, hidden details and Easter eggs were present in Prey for fans who knew where to look. The latest installment in the Predator franchise follows a young Comanche warrior named Naru, Amber Midthunder, who takes on one of the galactic hunters in 1719, when the Predator is as wild and untamed as the Great Northern Plains it claims as its hunting grounds. Though it takes place hundreds of years before the events of Predator, the prequel includes many homages to that film and others in the series. From specific throwback quotes and references to the Predator comics to direct connections to Predator 2, these Easter eggs are the true trophy for any die-hard fans of the Predator franchise. Throwback lines from Predator. It's only fitting that the movie that's being called a spiritual successor to the original Predator movie makes subtle use of its dialogue. When Naru questions whether the galactic hunter can be stopped, her brother Tob, Dakota Beavers, uses a line that Dutch would employ centuries later: "If it bleeds, we can kill it." Later on, when Naru confronts the Predator for one final battle, she screams, "Do it! Do it now!" to entice it to fall into her trap. Even if some of the best quotes in Prey come from another movie, they don't pull fans out of the plot, and they are stated in an organic way that fortunately doesn't take away from the unique contributions that Prey makes to a franchise that, up until recently, didn't have a lot of new things to say. Skull trophy collecting. Yotjas always collect a trophy to commemorate killing a worthy opponent, and later films in the franchise have featured predators collecting a variety of skulls, from humans to xenomorphs. Prey sees the feral Yotja do the same, beginning with the skull of a wolf. Using an interesting piece of alien tech, the Yotja sprays a mist that melts the pelt and tissue off the wolf's head to reveal the prize beneath. Not only does this scene convey the same grossly attention to detail of later movies, both Predator and Predator 2 featured the hunter melting the flesh from a few decapitated skulls, it also helps to establish Yotja customs further. Yotja weaponry. While it might come as no surprise to longtime fans of the franchise to see highly advanced Yotja weaponry sported on the hunt, it's still thrilling to see particular devices used in the early 18th century that get changed or refined in later Predator movies. Fans will take note of the iconic double-bladed gauntlet, the net, and even the retractable spear from Predator 2. It's interesting to find that the Yotja as a species has made some improvements to their weaponry since 1719, and considering the different worlds that have encompassed their hunting grounds, it just makes sense. When a hunter returns to Earth centuries later, it's evolved by hunting much more cautiously, and even going so far as to replace its bone helmet crest with a metallic mask. Hiding from thermal detection after a member of the lion hunting party gets attacked, Naru declares that only a certain wild plant will be able to stop him from bleeding out. This plant cools the blood, an aspect that should have immediately jumped out at fans of Predator who understand that the main component of the Yotja's hunting tech is thermal detection. Later on, when Naru ingests some of the plant during her final confrontation with the Predator, it cools her own blood enough to make it difficult for it to track her movements. It's a fun twist on a trope that has persisted in every movie in the franchise and helps demonstrate the benefits of having the home field advantage. Camouflage. A near-death experience in a bog forces Naru to use her rope-fastened tomahawk as a grappling hook, pulling herself from the mud that threatens to swallow her. As she crawls to sturdy land, she's the spitting image of Dutch after Hess covered himself in mud to lower his body temperature and avoid the Yotja's sensors. A lot of the methods that Naru uses to divert, avoid, or confront the Predator are based on accidental discoveries added to her wealth of knowledge tracking and gathering herbs. Just as the Predator adapts to hunt its prey, so does its prey learn how to hunt the Predator. Chest carving. When Tob decides to help Naru, he becomes embroiled in her aggressive dealings with the French fur trappers and eventually used as bait to draw out the Predator. Not understanding that the Yotja won't bother with any prey that it can't hunt itself, they slice him across the chest in the hopes that the blood will attract the alien hunter. In Predator, First Nation character Billy Soul, Sonny Landham, slices his chest open just before he enters into battle with the Predator, but then their confrontation happens off-screen. With a nearly identical wound, Tob acts as a stand-in for Billy when he takes on the Predator to protect Neru, and his warrior's death on screen that was denied to Billy makes Prey an improvement over Predator. Wordless communication in the tall grass. When Neru has become one of the last of her hunting party to survive, she stumbles upon Itzy in the tall grass. He beckons her to remain still with her eyes trained to the treeline for signs of the Yautja emerging. They communicate in sign language to avoid detection in a way that pays homage to Predator. In that movie, Mac grabs Dylan and pulls him into the bushes, urging him to be silent while the Predator was hunting. Unfortunately, Mac was caught in the hunter's laser and was killed, which nearly happens to Itzy. He almost manages to run to safety with Neri when the Predator enters the field, but he stumbles and the Yautja rips him to shreds with its gauntlet. Booby traps already an established tracker, Neru must prove herself as a hunter in her village, but due to her relative small stature she has to use her natural environment to her advantage. She learns to make sinister booby traps using wooden spikes and stakes carved into trees, knowing that the Yautja will follow the trail and pace she sets through the forest. Her traps are reminiscent of the ones Dutch makes in order to ensnare the Predator, using the jungle's resources to combat the Predator's advanced technology. The traps are deadly, but it's Neru's mind that is deadlier as she predicts the Yautja's movements and thought patterns in order to become someone capable of killing a Predator. Humans as bait fears nothing a Predator likes more than a worthy opponent, which is why captive bait is rarely enticing. That's why several human characters throughout the Predator franchise have learned to get creative where bait is concerned and use each other. Not only are Tob and Neru used as bait by the French fur trappers, Neru turns the tables on their leader and uses him as bait in order to draw out the Predator. In order to do this, she has to make her bait look like a viable threat to the Yautja, which she does by making him grab a rifle and try to shoot her, instead aiming at the Predator and incurring its wrath. This is similar to when Royce used Edwin as bait by strapping the criminal with bombs. Raphael Adelini flintlock pistol. One of the biggest Easter eggs in Prey arrives at the end when, after defeating the Yautja and returning to her village, Neru presents a flintlock pistol to the chief with the words Raphael Adelini 1715 inscribed on a small gold plate. This is the same weapon that's presented as a trophy to Lieutenant Mike Harrigan in Predator 2 by a group of predators who arrive to retrieve the body of the Yautja warrior he killed. While an intriguing reference, it potentially generates a plot hole unless future sequels to Prey explains how other Yautja have the pistol centuries later. Fans of the Predator comics published by Dark Horse will know that the pistol appears in other Yautja adventures, most notably among pirates. Its presence in Prey is a fun way to expand on the lore of the franchise and renewing fan interest.